Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another guide from Bro Seat to Checkpoint. Patch 3.2 has hit, which means that we have a couple of new 4-man dungeons to work our way through. I will be your host Ristles, and I'll be taking you through the first of these, which is the hard version of the Lost City of Amdapor. Quick tips on the way through. Some mobs will cast Misery. As in the Great Library, target them and use the emote /console, and that will remove it from the player.
In this section there are 3 gates in a row, each spawning ants.
If you focus all 3 and have the tank pick up each wave of ants, you can get all 8 of them up at once. This is great if you have a black mage or someone with decent AoE capabilities. If you don't, it's best to just deal with them one by one and take the ants as they come in. The first boss you'll come across is Akamoth, this butterfly moth hybrid. Akamoth has a few moves to be aware of, so we'll work our way through them in order. Psycho Squarmer is a wide AoE that you'll want to run out of. It has a long cast time and is relatively easy to dodge. Should you get hit by it, you will be confused and begin attacking one of your teammates, so you want to make sure that that doesn't happen. After Psycho Squarmer is Neuro Squarmer. This one you'll need to keep an eye on, as when the cast ends it will spawn a copy of each party member with their current facing. The cloned party members will then use a large breath AoE, so as the cast is finished you'll want to point yourself away from the fight. This will cause the clones to breathe away from the party and save you from taking extra damage. If some party members fail to turn it away, you should have space on the other side of the arena to drag the boss away to. If you're hit by the breath, you take some damage and a stack of vulnerability up. It also releases Toxic Squarmer, which is a cloud that targets any non-tank member and chases them around the room. You'll want to kite it until it disappears. If it hits you, it'll spawn a toxic puddle that remains for quite a while, and gives you a stack of vulnerability up as well. Be careful with Neuro Squarmer, and you should get the kill nice and easily. One thing to consider whilst walking through here is that if you drag the mobs into the ray of light at the edge of the platform, they will all have damage down and damage taken up. Make sure to make use of this to get through the dungeon in the fastest possible time. The second boss is the Winged Lion. It makes use of alternating elemental weaknesses, and has some spells to keep an eye on. The first one we'll cover is Holy. The boss will fly in the air and leave an arcane sphere which you need to kill as quickly as possible. The longer it's up, the more damage you'll take from the eventual cast. On killing the sphere, the boss will cast Holy and drop back to the floor. Throughout the fight, the boss will cast Ancient Arrow and Ancient Stone, which will spawn 2 circles of the element in question. Note that this can sometimes be Ancient Holy as well. You'll want to run through these to clear them. You'll take a small amount of damage and the circle will disappear. After a short delay, the boss will cast Ancient Libra. If you leave any of the circles up, this will cause them to pop, dealing AoE damage over a much larger area. After Ancient Libra, the boss will give half the party 2 stacks of wind vulnerability and the other 2 members 2 stacks of earth vulnerability. You'll need to check what you're vulnerable to and clear the opposing element's circles. If you're weak to wind, you'll clear stone. If you're weak to earth, you'll clear air. If it's holy, anyone can clear. The main point is to make sure that the circles don't explode and do not run into a circle that you're vulnerable to, or you'll take a large amount of avoidable damage. Tanks, one small note. You'll want to stand with your back to the exit, as during this fight, as you see here, 2 gargoyles will spawn in. Tanking here will mean that 1 overpower or flash or unleash will be enough to grab them when they spawn. A small note for trash on the way through to the last boss. With these jars, you can turn away from mysterious light to dodge being blinded. Eventually, you'll make your way to Karibu. This fight has 3 phases that change each time the boss dies. The boss has a buff called Seed of Life. Each stacked seed staves off the hands of death, and this means that each time you kill the boss, it will resurrect until the stacks are gone. Throughout the fight, the boss will use Glory, which is a front-facing cleave. Tanks, you'll need to keep it facing away from the party. It's very simple to step out of, and just does some simple flat damage. In Phase 1, the boss is focused on healing. It will cast Regen, which will cause it to regain health while it remains in the circle on the floor. You'll simply need to drag it outside and continue the fight. Next is Cure 4. See the white circle on the floor with 4 pillars of light? Everyone needs to run in and stand in a circle. For each person in the circle, a pillar disappears and it lowers the potency of the heal. If no one enters the circle and all 4 pillars are left up, then the boss can heal to near full. Next is Cure 3. As a note, Cure 3 is interruptible. Tanks and DPS with stuns should interrupt this spell at every opportunity. Burn through the boss's health, and eventually it will die and resurrect. Once it does, it will have a buff called Reverse, which will make its healative magic offensive instead. Regen will become bleeding. Drag the boss out again. You can run as soon as the cast starts to avoid taking any damage when exiting the circle. Cure 4 becomes an AoE, dealing less damage the farther you are from the boss. Run away as soon as the cast starts to minimize damage. Cure 3 becomes a targeted AoE on 2 players in the party. Make sure to spread the circles away from other party members and each other to avoid taking any more damage than is necessary. In the third and final phase, the boss will alternate between healing spells and damaging spells. Keep an eye out for AoE indicators and this shouldn't be a problem. The boss will begin to summon Puttos of alternating colour. The high Puttos are a green beam which stack regeneration on the boss and should be killed as quickly as possible. The longer it's up, the more stacks the boss has, and the more it subsequently heals for. The low Putto will have a purple beam and will link to the healer. This follows usual prey mechanics, and the tank or one of the DPS can run over the healer to become the target whilst the party rush it down. Note that this will give the target bleeding and healing potency down, so consider using any cooldowns you have available to cover the additional damage. Congratulations! You've successfully completed the Lost City of Amdapor Hard. Thank you for joining us. Please keep an eye on our channel for other guides in the near future. If you like the guide, give us a like or a subscribe, and please do let us know if you have any questions in the comments and we'll do our best to answer them for you. A quick thank you to Versailles, Emercia, and Alex, other members of Implausible Conclave from Moogle's server, for purposefully looking bad by standing in all of the stuff so we could work out what they did. Best of luck, adventurers. This is Ristles from Broseed to Checkpoint, signing off.